Hello, I'm Linda Means, welcoming you to this edition of Candid Conversations. Today we're going to be talking about one of the great institutions that makes Dover the wonderful and special and unique town that it is, the Dover Foundation. I know most of you have seen many of their plays and other productions. We do a musical one year, a straight play next year. This year it's a straight play, Rumors by Neil Simon. You'll be hearing more about that. We just put out this wonderful book celebrating 70 years because we have been in business for 70 years providing entertainment and gifts for the town of Dover that whole time. Full color production on which a lot of people worked for a long time. So every playbill of the Dover Foundation over the last 70 years is in it. Color pictures of your old friends as well as some newcomers you will want to get to know. If you would like to buy this book, just go to the Dover Foundation website and send us a check for $40 and it can be yours. You will not be sorry. As I said, we've been in business for 70 years. Our mission statement says that we are here to bring people together, which we have done, to raise funds, to give gifts to the town, which we do consistently every year. Yes, we give away all the money you give us, and we are proud of that because, as our current board president, Jane Taylor, will tell you, we have given thousands of dollars of gifts back to the town, and she will tell you what they are. Jane, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Thank you for coming. Tell us, what has the Dover Foundation been doing with all that money raised through the annual appeal and the selling of the book and productions?
Linda, that you mentioned the book, I actually learned a huge amount of what the Dover Foundation has done over the years because I'm relatively new to the town of Dover. Kind of 6-7 years ago we moved here, and then I joined the foundation 5 years ago, and since then I've kind of learned a lot more about what we've given back. I mean, one of our main things is giving scholarships to Dover students to further their education, and that's what we're well known for. However, there are a huge amount of community projects that in the past we have given money to. Examples are very widespread actually. We gave the money for the Dover Town Hall curtains. We also funded the batting cage for the Dover Sherborne Youth Raiders team. We paid for the lights for the basketball courts. We paid for an individual to go with the Youth Symphony Orchestra away. So huge amount of local, very relevant projects. Another one we did was we funded a reach out program which was dealing with children or youngsters that had alcohol and drug abuse to try and kind of help them. We also, one thing I learned was with Dover, we rebuilt the scout cabin. So, as I said, a huge amount of very local, very worthwhile projects that we've the foundation, through the annual appeal and through the ticket sales, will generate money and then we will give that back. And as a board member, we will work with the community to try and encourage them to give suggestions of what they might like the money to be put towards. So also we encourage students to also apply for scholarship grants. So that's once a year we will come together and determine which students might be eligible for these scholarships. And I can tell you that 71 years ago the first scholarship we gave was $162.
Wouldn't go far today.
Nowadays we give slightly more than that, a lot more. So I think last year we gave 6 scholarships, and we've given over $600,000 to 500 students.
Wow.
In the 70 years since the foundation was formed. So
that's impressive.
We're not talking small numbers here. And then along with another thing I wanted to mention was the foundation has this phenomenal resource which is available to our community but also beyond, which is it sounds strange to talk about it, but it's our costume vault, run by the wonderful Sheridan Miller, who is our costume oracle as far as I'm concerned, knows everything about every costume within the vault, keeps it all meticulously laid out. And we provide costumes to the high school, the middle school, and other towns as well. They all can come and use this resource, which is just phenomenal. From every show, from My Fair Lady, which is a phenomenal show in terms of costumes and how much is required, right down to Rumours, which we're doing now, which is basically a few 80s pieces. And Sheridan, the shoulder pads, the big fists, everything. Yeah, it's awesome.
Big jewelry, yeah.
So yeah, Sheridan and the Costume Vault is one resource that is just, I think, immeasurable in terms of what we have. And
could I interject a question?
Yes.
Maybe people have to sign out and rent it, or is it just...
They do have to kind of come through us or through Sheridan, and certainly we do take account of what's been taken, but people can come and we can discuss their needs. Sheridan, as I said, will have suggestions. She'll know exactly that there's a hat for that, and a jacket that would be perfect for this character. So I wanted to mention that, and I also want to just mention that applications are still being accepted for 2018 scholarships and also for these community projects. So I would really encourage anyone who would like to apply, whatever they think, however small, however large. It's really, really something that we're striving to get back to doing and to give back. So all the information can be found, I think it will be on the bottom of the screen maybe, at the website. So, and the application forms are on there.
Great. Well, thank you very much. We actually have some of the cast of Rumours, our upcoming production, which will be held in early May, as it always is. All of you, I want to hear about what you do. Paul, how long have you been with the foundation, and what is your role this year, and how did you come our way?
I have actually only been involved with the foundation since last year's production of Guys and Dolls, and which
was fabulous, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I came to the foundation actually through my daughter Leslie, who was in Oliver back in 2014, and she had a fabulous experience. And since I'm also a community theater person, from that point we were looking to see if there would be an opportunity to do a show together, and last year presented that opportunity, and I fell in love with the group. I am local, I live in Dover, and when they announced that they were doing Rumours this year, I immediately put it in pen. I was going to be at auditions because I love Neil Simon, and it's
that is great.
And I really love this group.
I love Neil Simon too. I've seen some of his plays, but I've never seen Rumours, so I'm looking forward to that. He's usually hysterically funny, and I hear this play is very funny.
Yes.
And
he actually made it a point to be very funny with this play. When he wrote Rumours, when he was setting to write Rumours, he was at a fairly low point in his life. He was going through divorce, and he had just written his trilogy of Brighton Beach Memoirs, Biloxi Blues, Broadway Bound, which were very heavy autobiographical plays. And he said, I need to make myself laugh.
He was ready to have
So he wrote a
fun.
farce, and he did, and he makes all of us laugh as a result.
That's wonderful. Tell us about your part.
I play Ken Gorman. Jane plays my wife, which is kind of interesting because we have Susan here, who was my wife at the end, my former wife at the end of Guys and Dolls.
So no problems with
Laura,
exes
I guess you are next. Right.
He was my
And-
gambler, and I was the mission doll, and he took me away to a more interesting
An
life.
exotic location. Okay. So no problems with all these exes.
No.
Well, behind the scenes.
Behind this Yeah. So
that's great.
my character, along with Jane, we're sort of the ones trying to orchestrate a cover-up, and
cover-up.
the initial
means a
lies.
crime.
Absolutely, well, potentially, we don't even know what we're covering up as part of the problem.
Yeah.
So we're sort of at a central point where we start bouncing potential stories off of other characters and seeing what we can get away with without being found out.
Sounds fun. Sounds really great. Laura, tell us about you and your role and how you
Okay.
came to the Dover Foundation.
So I'm the newest. It's my first year. I live in Dover too. I have 3 kids. We've been in Dover for 6 years now. I'm originally from Costa Rica. So it's interesting to have the opportunity to be part of a play with this deep accent that I have, right?
Which is very charming, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, English is not my first language, so it's I had a background in theater in my country many years ago when I was there, and I always miss to act and to be involved in theater, and never search around because it's like, oh no, like, all these characters like with this accent, like you would never. And then Jane convinced me, it's like, no, come on, like I go to every play, Dover Foundation, and my daughter is a very involved person in the middle school in theater too. So I go and get involved in costumes and makeup and just to be there, right? So this was a great opportunity, and I thank Jane because she really, like, you have to go. I'm like, no, I don't even prepare like an audition. That just go. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go and try, and I'm so happy to be there.
So fun.
Like
And-
everybody has welcomed me like amazingly.
It's a friendly group of people.
It is.
Definitely.
It is
People
awesome.
talk a lot about the lifelong friendships they make, whether they're on the board or in the production or making sets backstage
Right.
or
Yeah.
sewing costumes.
I can
or-
see that totally.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be on the stage. I
No.
mean, there is so much behind the scenes, and as you say, doing anything,
So many
lighting,
things you
set
can
building,
do.
just doing a bit of painting, or coming along and sewing a few buttons on, and just having that. We have evenings and we have wine and we have cheese and we do sewing, and it's just it's so sort of social, and you always I think that you always know there's a friend because you kind of know so many people through the town through a show, and also it's, as Laura just mentioned, and Paul as well, it's such a family sort of experience. Like I was in actually Neil Simon's Barefoot in the Park in 2013 when I just moved to Dover, and then from there myself and my 2 children were in Oliver the following year. And then Isabel, my daughter, and I did Pirates of Penzance, but then I couldn't commit to a show, but she wanted to be in the next show. But I was like, okay, well, I'll take on the hospitality and still be involved.
Right.
Even if you can't commit to, being there for rehearsals, there's so much that you can do. And we just love having new people. That's why I was like, Laura, you won't regret it. You'll love it. And then Paul, obviously, who I kind of knew through being involved with Guys and Dolls, but weren't on the stage, and now to act with Paul is just great. And then Susan's always
But you
one of my
didn't dream you'd
favorites.
be married?
I never
No.
imagined I never imagined Susan would divorce him and then I'd be able to marry him.
Susan would allow something like this to happen.
Well, in fact, when we did the last cabaret that we've done every few years, Jane and I did a very silly performance as the romance between the honeysuckle and the bindweed.
Oh, I love that.
So we
That was
almost got
wonderful.
married.
Yes, that's true.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
but we were left and right, so we couldn't.
The hotbed of romantic activity, I can see. What is your part this year, Laura?
My character's name is Cookie, and I'm invited to this party in this house where everything is happening already. So me and my husband show up, and there's stuff happening that we have no
You have
idea.
no idea.
It's just like so weird how everybody's acting. And I carry my own act because this character, she suffers from back spasms. So she has like all these crazy, burst of pain and spasms in the middle of like all the
Laura, do one. You've got to do one of your back spasms.
Do
Go
you have a
ahead.
dance background?
Oh yes,
I have to walk in like very weird.
she's a yoga instructor,
Show
so
us
she's fine.
Yeah. Show us how your back spasm.
So I don't know, like I just like go back to like I imagine it's in the right side of my back, so some movements trigger it, right? So like if I go to Susan, it'll be like, oh, I kind of like slide
And then
down.
we're all trying to digress from what's really going on. So we're all like, what is it? What is it? And everyone's trying to help her. And,
And then suddenly
and then
she's like,
suddenly she's
I'm
like,
okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
It just
sounds great.
happened, and yeah. So it's funny. She has a TV show, right? A
Yes.
cooking show.
Yes.
So
So
she.
that's where the name Cookie.
That's where
comes
the
from.
name Cookie. And yeah, she's just like a very different in terms of like sweet, but also has her little.
She's tough.
Yeah, like high maintenance but sweet, trying to help but at her own terms. Like.
I think I would like her.
Yeah.
Susan, I know you're active on the board of the Dover Foundation, but
Well, I'm
you're also a
a
thespian.
secretary, and I've been secretary for a few years. Before I just do my thing, I just have to say what Laura in Rumours, I am the second officer to Officer Welch, who isn't here right now, who's very skeptical about the whole business going on. And when we try
Sounds
to...
like he should be.
Yes.
Nobody seems to know the name of their own husband and that kind of stuff. So the main problem I see in rehearsals is that we can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
It's very, very funny. They're incredibly talented. And I have 4 lines in 2 separate parts. I am Officer Connie Pudney, and I'm described in the script as being approximately 22.
Okay, that's close enough.
Why are you laughing?
No.
It's close enough.
I didn't
But
know
it's
that.
hilarious.
I didn't know that.
I can use my Cockney, but and my favourite line is I just go, 10:47, Connie, over.
How many hours did it take you to memorize that?
At least you've learned your line.
I'm almost word perfect. But anyway, it's enormous fun. These guys are just so talented. I moved to Dover in '96 from New York, and I thought, where in the heck am I?
New York City?
New York City.
To Dover. This is a contrast.
Yes, it was a contrast. And I discovered the Dover Foundation. I think my first show was Oliver in '99, and I was in the crowd. And then I did a couple more. I think My Fair Lady was before that, and Carousel. But then I had my starring role in the 2014,
Yes.
Oliver, playing Mrs. Sowerberry, who was wonderfully charming. You can sleep among the coffins, Oliver.
This wasn't typecasting.
Absolutely, it was a wonderful Cockney. Anyway, that was sort of how I met Jane then,
Yeah.
I think, and Ruth, who's our producer for Rumours, who was also in Oliver, and we're beginning the British and now the Costa Rican invasion, so we're outnumbering.
Who knows what's next, right?
But I will say that the foundation, it was wonderful for me coming in from, I really didn't know anybody, and I didn't think that I fit that well into the Dover scene. I didn't have kids in school or anything, so the foundation was wonderful, and we did have some marvelous rehearsal parties. I don't know how we had the energy. We used to have parties after every rehearsal, it seemed, including, probably I should be careful how I mention this, but we used to have a boot party in the Dover Chopin High School parking lot, where we would have a big Wellington boot that belonged to Denny Dowd, who's sadly not with us anymore, and we would put dollars in it, and we would have
A party.
some libation.
Sounds like a lot like what the high school seniors do around graduation
It
time.
was. We had to stop after Dover's Finest kind of intervened, so that was it. But in any event, I'm loving being in Rumours. It's nice only to have to learn 4 lines, and
Yeah.
and I'm only in the last couple of scenes, so it's
Piece of
great.
cake for someone of your experience. Had you had theater experience before you came to Dover?
Yes, I was a sailor in HMS Pinafore in high school, and I think
Being 22, that was not that long ago.
I mostly sang in choruses. I hadn't done that much on stage. In fact, I was way too scared to audition when I first started at the foundation. And then by the time I got to know everybody very well, I could have cared less because they're all so wonderful. They're not going to criticize you, at least not to your face.
I think that's very considerate. Laura, you said you had done some work in Costa Rica. What kind of theater work had you done before?
Yeah,
coming
so
to the
no
foundation?
musicals at all. I don't sing. A lot of Latin America's writers. I worked for the National Theater, the company, like the National Theater
Oh,
Company,
exciting.
for a few years, and yeah, it's just like plays from writers from Spain. I actually was. We put together the importance of being earnest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was Cecilia or Cecily in that show. That was really nice. So not a lot of American authors, but a lot of European and Latin
So
American.
you would bring a wonderful cosmopolitan international flavor to the whole thing, which is
Thank
great.
you. Yeah.
Somebody remind everybody exactly when and where this play is being held, because it's coming right up.
It's coming right up. Oh, it's coming right up.
Yeah.
She's learned her line.
I've got
Yes,
my
I
line.
know. Yes, the line learning is challenging, I have to say. I feel like the older I get, the harder it is to learn.
And we're
lines.
older.
I know. We're all slightly older than 22, not much, but yes, no, we would absolutely. It's May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's in Craft Hall.
Which is part of the Dover
Part of the
Church.
Dover Church, yeah. So we have evening performances on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. And then we have a matinee on the Saturday at 2 p.m. Actually, it's worth mentioning at the matinee there are discounted tickets for seniors. Regular price tickets are $20, but on the matinee it's $15 for the seniors. Which also includes refreshments provided by Starbucks.
A bargain.
So tea, coffee, and pastries
Provided
are
by whom?
included. Starbucks of Medfield. And yeah, the seniors tickets can be got through the Dover Council of Aging. Otherwise, tickets or all tickets can be got at the website www.doverfoundation.com or at the Dover Automotive, opposite the Dover Market, Dover's Dover Automotive, and also obviously on the night of the show. So yeah, we look forward to seeing lots of familiar faces in the crowd, but just don't make us laugh because it's hard enough not to
We're already
anyway.
laughing.
The cast
After hearing
members
all
and
this, I
crew
can't
will
wait to see
be.
it. Paul, tell us about your previous experience prior to moving to Dover. Had you been involved in theater? Or was
Yes,
it-
I've been involved with community theater for about 25 years now.
Oh,
I was
wow, your
involved through
combined
high school.
experience is
Yeah, I mean, I
fabulous.
was involved with theater through high school and then let it drop. And then a few years after I graduated college, I saw an opportunity nearby. I was living in Waltham at the time and got the bug right back as soon as I got cast, and I've been doing shows ever since.
Well, you're a pro at this point. That's great. Well, one thing that I didn't comment on before, but several of you have mentioned family experiences together. That's a long tradition in the Dover Foundation. Whole families getting involved together in one way or another. So I think that's one of the really wonderful things about it. It just benefits everybody. Does anybody have more that they would like to say about their role or the Dover Foundation or the play? Or?
No, just one note on the families. I think even if you think you're a member of a family who maybe has a partner who is interested in theatre and you thought that you never were, I honestly think that it can be for everyone. So I'm going to mention that we did the cabaret, as Susan talked about earlier, at the end of last year. And being the president, I was convincing the rest of my family they needed to be involved to show their support to Mum. So Izzy, my daughter, who loves her theatre, is very good friends with Laura's daughter, Marisol. She was like, okay, I'll do something, but I'd like to do it with Daddy. And
Well,
I was like,
thanks a lot.
oh, really? Okay. And I'm thinking, Daddy's not going to do it, because my husband, Neil, has never been interested in theatre, never been on stage. Great sports person, but not into drama whatsoever. Anyway, Izzy asked him, and he was like, "Okay, I'll do it."
Something about fathers and daughters. When
He
the
nailed it,
little girl
and it
asks,
was
you do it.
Yeah,
He
and
was
they
phenomenal.
did the song from Annie. He was Daddy Warbucks, and she was Annie. And yeah, I'm actually kind of a little bit gutted to say he was phenomenal.
So now I suppose you can't keep him away.
Yes, well, maybe. Hopefully next time he's going to do a full musical. But yeah, so just going back to, it really is something that everyone can be involved in, from, as we say, leading a show to just being in the ensemble with their daughter, with their son, with their grandfather, whatever it might be.
Ex-spouse, whatever,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah, with their exes, futures, who knows?
In doubt or
Yes.
ambiguous, right, everything. Well, thank you all. This has been a wonderful conversation. I learned things I didn't know before, despite the fact that I've been a big fan of the Dover Foundation for so many years. And I want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in to Candid Conversation. I hope you gained a greater appreciation of how much the Dover Foundation does, not just for the people who participate, but for the whole town, through gifts, through providing entertainment, and just bringing a lighter, happier touch to everything that happens in the town of Dover. Thanks for tuning in. And now, Jane and Paul will give you just a little snippet of the kind of talent you can expect to see at any Dover Foundation production.
Who is it that wants to know?
Know about what?
The night at Charlie and Myra's party that was, well, it was just a complete farce.
Oh, yes, well, everyone. Word has spread like wildfire, especially around the club. Everyone wants to know what really happened.
After everything we did to try to keep it
Well, they
quiet.
might as well know the truth now.
And how do you propose making sure everyone gets the truth?
Well, I know. They can all come and watch the show.
What?
We can put on a show, reenact the whole thing. Yes, come and see the show.
See what the farce was all about and what did happen whilst Myra was missing. Charlie was, well...
Otherwise indisposed.
Yes. May 3rd, 4th, and 5th at Craft Hall, Dover Church.
You can get tickets.
We are selling tickets.
Might as well raise some money for a good cause while we're at it. Get your tickets at www.thedoverfoundation.com or Dover Automotive. We'll see you
all
there.
there.